Welcome to Here at Haas, a student-run podcast of the Berkeley Haas community. My name is Ray Guan, and today we're joined by Maggie Lau, an evening weekend student of the class of 2022. Welcome, Maggie.
Hi, Ray.
Let's start with your journey to Haas. Tell us about your background and how you got here.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Hong Kong, and I moved to California, San Jose, California, when I was 11. And I pretty much grew up in California. Before Haas, I went to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. I studied biochemistry. But after graduation, I decided not to do anything with that major. While at Cal Poly, I co-founded a student organization called Chinese Cultural Club, and I realized that I love working with people and interacting with others and working on projects. So I wanted to get into business or business operations. And a few years after I graduated from Cal Poly, I decided to pursue my MBA, and I actually applied to Haas, but I didn't get in then. So that was my first attempt. And the feedback that I got was that, hey, Maggie, you're still too green, and why don't you get a couple more years of work experience and try again?
Wow.
And so last year or 2 years ago, when I had a conversation with a close friend, she encouraged me that it was time to reapply and to go after my dream. And so I did last year, and fortunately I'm here.
Yeah.
At Haas.
Well, has there been anything that's changed when you first applied versus now? I know it's been a few years. So have your goals changed from then until now? And if so, what additional questions are you asking yourself?
I think my goals are more refined than the first time I applied. I always knew that I wanted to run a company, to be an entrepreneur. And after a couple years of working, I knew that this is really what I want to do. And this time around, I am more focused on pursuing this path of entrepreneurship and also exploring opportunities within this space, like which area to focus on. And this is what I'm doing now. And I know that Haas is still my top one dream school. Before this application the acceptance, I attended the diversity symposium. I went to the women's event. And I know that this is the school I want to attend with such diverse student body and amazing faculty and network to grow my career.
Very nice. Well, congrats. You got in, and I think myself and a lot of others are very happy that you've done so. I think this is a good time to transition into what you've been doing at Haas. Now, you mentioned a bunch of things, including entrepreneurship, diversity. Tell us about your experience so far here at Haas and what extracurricular activities you've been involved in.
Yeah, excited to talk about that. So I've been involved with a program called StEP since the first semester I'm at Haas. It's a student-run program that's affiliated with the Berkeley Entrepreneurship Association. So StEP is an 8 weeks experiential program that connects UC Berkeley engineering, computer science, business, design, and other students on campus to help them found their startup and to find their co-founders and team members. And throughout this program, not only do we help students match and find their founding team, but we also help them on building their MVP, developing their go-to-market strategy, and to pitch to investors. So the first semester I applied to this program, STEP, I applied to be part of a founding team. After talking to the founding members of STEP, I also got myself involved in the leadership team, coordinating the program, and I love this program. It's a great way to really get into the entrepreneurship environment at UC Berkeley to get myself introduced into the startup ecosystem that I'm not familiar with, and to connect with other students with entrepreneurial spirits and students from outside of my EW MBA program. I now have connection with students outside of Haas who are doing their postdoc, who are undergraduate students, but very passionate and already know that they want to build something to contribute to the society. So it's been an amazing journey so far.
Yeah, I'd like to actually ask you about that. So I was involved in STEP as well, as you know, and I'm just very curious about how this concept came together and how has your experience been in networking with folks from different departments. You mentioned undergraduates here. I think there are people from the School of Engineering, from the School of Computer Science. And so we really take a lot of Haas students that participate and connect them with those in other schools as well.
Yeah, the concept of STEP came together. It was actually founded by a couple of Haas MBA students. I wasn't part of that founding team, but the concept of STEP is we have many different programs at UC Berkeley. We have Launch, we have Cal Hacks, which is not too business oriented, but more technology oriented, engineering oriented. So the concept of STEP is how to blend everybody together for students who are from business school, students who are from engineering school, how to bring them together to really develop a product and to build their business case. And although we have many different programs at UC Berkeley, we see a need for a program like STEP to help students who don't know where to start. So STEP is also a first step for a lot of students like myself into the startup ecosystem. So it's super valuable because every week during the 8 weeks program, we are bringing in industry experts, we're bringing in faculty. Last week, we brought in Professor Abhishek from our innovation department to talk about go-to-market strategy. And he gave us real-life examples of how it has worked or did not work for companies.
I think that is so amazing that you're utilizing a lot of these resources that you can tap on for us students, right? You mentioned faculty. There's also some alumni. One question I have is, what do folks typically do after STEP? Do they go found their own companies? Do they go do other entrepreneurship programs on campus?
I think it's a combination of everything that you just mentioned. We have teams that continue on with their startup idea and grow it into something bigger and really take it to the next step and go into competitions and go into Skydeck or go into launch to continue to test their MVP, develop it into a real product that they can sell, take to the market and get funding. We also have teams that go back to their original plan and maybe they apply to STEP to grow their original idea or modify their idea into something that is a better market fit. So I've seen both, but we also have startups that are applying to Y Combinator and are quite successful. There is one that was featured in Wall Street Journal last semester, and it's one of the success stories from STEP that we're really proud of. And it's not just the teams, but I'm really happy to see startup team members who were involved in STEP last semester or last year who continue on with STEP as a leadership team member to continue to grow STEP. So STEP itself is almost like a startup.
So right now, I believe this is only the third iteration of STEP. So it's actually really enjoyable just from a personal standpoint, seeing people develop and grow, and then in turn contributing towards STEP to help future generations and future iterations of the program just grow and inspire others And so in that sense, it's kind of helping itself, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's an inspiration for myself as well.
Okay, let's focus on Maggie Lau then. Let's focus on you because I think you had mentioned that earlier in this conversation that you wanted to start your own company. What kind of company would you like to start? And how do you want to be involved in entrepreneurship?
That's a great question. I'm still exploring and still brainstorming ideas of that one product or service that I want to put in the market. But this startup will be a mission driven startup or company. And I want to leverage my hardware tech background and knowledge to contribute to the society. So, one area that I want to explore and perhaps focus more on is education technology. So, through StEP and through the connections that I've made so far at Haas, I found this startup called Turing Chain. And Turing Chain is named after Alan Turing, the
Mm,
mathematician.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm working with a research scholar in UC Berkeley blockchain lab. His name is
Okay.
Jeff Hu. Yeah, so Jeff and his co-founders have a really grand vision to digitize the world as smart cities by leveraging blockchain technology. And they're using this technology in and applying it in the education room right now. My role right now is to help one of their products called Turing Certs. Turing Certs is a blockchain-based certification system for universities. And I'm taking what I learned from STEP and the go-to-market strategy and customer discovery to reach out to different partners, institutions to get them to use Turing Cert so that we can test our idea and to pilot this product. And currently we are partnered with 25 institutions and we have over 3,500 issuances across 5 different cities. So this product
Wow.
is currently used in London, in Hong Kong, Taipei, Jakarta, and San Francisco.
Hmm.
So yeah, we're continuing to grow this product and service, and I'm really excited because this is my first real step into blockchain, and it's a crossover between blockchain and education.
Yeah. No, it sounds very fascinating.
One thing that I forgot to mention earlier, I participated in a competition
Mhm.
a couple months ago with UC Berkeley. It's called VCIC. It's Venture Capital International Competition.
Mhm.
So it's where I was a part of a team of 6 with an observer on the team, and we listened to startup founders' pitches, and then we had to decide and evaluate whether or not we want to fund this company. And we had to give a reason why. So on the competition day, we had the venture capitalists who were there to judge us on the questions that we asked the startup founders and how we evaluated the company during the due diligence process and our rationale on our investment decision. It was a great experience.
Was this an extracurricular activity? Was it sponsored by a group or by an association?
It's an extracurricular activity, and I don't know who the sponsor is of this program, but it's a student run program. It was organized by a bunch of Haas students. I'm also involved with a student organization called Net Impact.
Mhm.
So, Net Impact is focused on social impact projects and opportunities for students who are interested in that space. So this is also where I find out about projects and tracks and job opportunities and social events or volunteering events that are out there that I could participate in and encourage other students to participate in.
Right, right. And I think that ties in directly with your goal of founding or being a part of a mission driven company.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You've only been here 1 year. We're in the same class. Tell us about some of your favorite academic classes so far.
My favorite academic classes. I like all of them so far, but my favorite one must be macroecon with Professor Ross Levin.
Hmm.
The second favorite is accounting with Professor Zhang.
Oh, wow. So you've
In,
really enjoyed this semester so far.
I really enjoy spring A so far. And one reason I really like macro and really enjoy Professor Ross' class is because he takes the concepts to a different level. He tells us about how the current event, with COVID-19, how it is impacting the global economy. And we're taking what we learned in class about the short term and the long term supply and demand into the real life example.
Hmm. Yeah.
And he actually gave us an extra session after we finished the term to talk about the current events and impact. So I really appreciate that. And for accounting, it was really fun. I was not expecting it to be fun. I always expected accounting to be boring and a lot of numbers, but Professor Zhang really made it interesting and applicable to real life business examples.
Mhm.
And I really enjoy both of the classes.
Yeah, and I think they are both examples of folks who go beyond, which is one of our
Oh,
defining leadership principles. And for those of our listeners who don't know, we are currently recording this during the SIP, the shelter in place restrictions that have been placed on us, as well as many other cities and countries around the world. Okay, lastly, we have some lightning round questions.
okay.
How about I'll ask you first, what is your favorite activity been while sheltering in place?
Workout at home. I do a 15 to 20-minute session working out, just following YouTube videos.
Second question, one of your favorite podcasts, one or a few, other than
Favorite
this one, of
podcast.
course.
There's one that I listen to called The Pitch.
What's the
The
pitch
Pitch.
about?
The Pitch is a podcast where a startup founder is invited to the show to pitch the startup idea in front of a panel of 4 or 5 judges, and they're real venture capitalists or angel investors. And it's a real pitch that they make. And then at the end of the pitch, there's a Q&A session, and then the judges will decide whether or not they want to fund this company and why. And then the host of this podcast follows up with the startup a couple months later to see what actually happened.
Wow,
It's
this sounds like Shark Tank.
extremely interesting.
No, it sounds fascinating. Okay, so last question, but definitely not least, what is your favorite defining leadership principle?
Student always.
And why is that?
I love learning new things, and that has been a constant in my life. I have worn many different hats, even at work. So I started my career in manufacturing at an aerospace manufacturing company in material planning. And then I was put onto different teams to implement ERP system, and then in developing a cost accounting team. And then now I'm at a global electronics manufacturing company. And I am being rotated in different projects and departments, and it's been an amazing experience to learn different aspects of running a business and just want to continue to grow. So student always, and that's one of the reasons why I'm at Haas, because there's always a lot more to learn.
And I think that's a perfect way to wrap. Well, this has been great, Maggie. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you, Ray. Thanks for having me.